Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of our Bene's Banter podcast. Today we are live celebrating the 50th anniversary of St Margaret's High School at our Mass, which was celebrated tonight here in the school with Bishop Toll. Our podcast tonight is going to be focusing on interviewing some ex-pupils, ex-members of staff and members of the community that have come along tonight. So I'm sure you'll hear lots of hustle and bustle as all our invited guests are having a catch-up and a good old chat about their experiences. So we're hoping to catch up with quite a few people tonight. And luckily today I am joined by 3 of our senior pupils who are going to help me interview people and just generally take over so I don't have to do all the work tonight. So I am joined by Amy, I am joined by Sophie, and I am joined by Olivia. So please sit back and enjoy as we all share some memories of St Margaret's High School. We are now joined by our first guest, so can I ask you to introduce yourself and tell us about your connection to St Margaret's High School?
I'm Margaret, former chemistry teacher at St Margaret's and principal teacher of pupil support. However, my probationary period was up and I managed to escape and retire a couple of years ago.
So when did you start in St Margaret's?
Oh, I started St Margaret's, 30 years ago at least. It must have been 1990, I think it was. I started at the same time as Mr. Berry. I was his first appointment, apparently his promoted appointment.
Oh, very nice.
A very hairy interview.
So is this the first time you've been back at St Margaret's since you left?
Yes, since I retired, this is the first time I've come back. Yeah, I've been enjoying retirement too much.
That's good. Have you noticed any changes?
I haven't seen enough of it yet. You know, the students are the students. I mean, I remember 30 years of students and they're the same. I don't mean the clones, but you know, the people who've got a big smile on their face, they're helpful, they're always around, and they always appreciated my jokes, so I can't say a bad word against them, you know.
I have to say, in your absence, Mr. Brady, I have tried to become the head dad joke person in the school, and I don't think I've ever quite reached your level yet, though.
You're kind of born with that talent, or you're not. I think that's just the way it is, you know. I just opened my mouth and something came out. You know, it was the kids that would tell me what it was afterwards.
Right-os.
So could you share any of your favourite memories of being at St Margaret's?
My favourite memories, I think the first time I went to Lochiel stands out to the whole group. Well, don't ask me names, right? Faces I recognise, names I'm rubbish with. You show me pictures, I'll recognise them.
Yeah.
But I went up to Lochiel, and it was the first time any of the St Margaret's kids had been outside Airdrie, basically. And Lochiel was way out in the countryside, pitch black, there's no street lights, nothing. And we went out onto our night walk, as it was called, on the second night. Probably shouldn't tell this, but
Oh no, this is the exact place where you should be telling the story.
At least the teaching council can't get me now that I'm retired. But we took him out in the dark, and it starts off very pleasantly just to stand in the dark, look at the night sky, and the kids were so shocked by how black it was. They'd never seen black before. They thought they had. But then, of course, I thought, well, it'd be even more interesting for them if somebody was to come up in the dark and tap them on the shoulders when they were there. Now, there was one big boy that played for my rugby team at the time. He was about 6'2" at the time, and big. And he was a big hard man. And let's just say that when you get tapped on the shoulders, he showed his gentler side. Other things I always remember are kids that will come into a class and they're quiet, and you'll just sit, and you won't know they're there. And then gradually they open up, you know, and gradually you get a wee bit of chat with them when you can see the potential in them and so on. And there's a lot of kids like that. And I think it's just a case that sometimes kids aren't told often enough that, you know, they can actually do something. And then when they do it, they realise, wow, I'll go for that. That was good. Football, playing for the staff football team, giving the kids a chance to get their own back at me every so often.
Was there any dirty tackles going on there by any chance?
Oh, there was a few, shall we? What's it they call them? Industrial challenges, you know, which required scaffolding to the leg and stuff like that afterwards. But that was good. I enjoyed relationships with the kids and enjoyed relationships. I keep calling them kids. I'm not supposed to do that now. I'm very non-PC. You know, it was things like that. You know, the things when you're not in a class sometimes. You go to a social event or you take the kids away on a trip. You know, and kids all getting to Paris, staying in a hotel with a 4-star rating in the restaurant, leaving the food and invading McDonald's next to the Eiffel Tower, you know. What was your favourite part of your trip to Paris? Oh, McDonald's were really good. You get more chips there than you get in Airdrie. Do you know that? And I thought, yes, well, at least the cultural trip we've taken them on has certainly opened their horizons, you know. But I like coming to work, you know, and I like what happened here, you know, and there are lots of things that when you ask somebody like this, you can't quite get them in their head, but give me an hour from now when I'm heading back home again, I'll say, I should have said this, I should have told them about that.
But it's great how quick you can share even just those memories that just come straight to mind, and it's all the good memories you have of working here.
Do you know, if you ask me to think of some bad times, I would struggle, because I don't know whether it's psychological, but when I think about St Margaret's, I think good things, good staff, good people, staff of all areas, you know, from the kitchen staff to the cleaning staff, and then I think the kids I can't think of a bad kid. I can think of some of the kids that drove me mental. In the main, it was good fun. You know, it was good fun as a teacher. And I think that's when I knew I had to retire. Was when things weren't getting fun anymore. And it was nothing whatsoever to do with the kids. It was that point I thought, right, time to move on here.
You've done your shift, and you did a very good shift, I have to say. I know from pupils speaking, you were a very, very popular teacher with the young people. They did really love you, and certainly been missed in the science department, I have to say, since you've gone.
Right, because it doesn't smell as much anymore, and there's not as many flames going about. You know, like, I can say that now, but before I had to keep that quiet.
But no, thank you very much, Mark, for joining us for a brief chat tonight at the Mass.
That's right.
Celebrating St Margaret's, and thank you very much for your time.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've now got our second guest for tonight's podcast. So could you please introduce yourself and tell us your connection to St Margaret's High School?
Okay, I'm Jim Quinn. I was in St Margaret's High School for 35 years, my only school. I came here in 1982, retired 7 years ago.
Has that been 7 years already?
Yeah, indeed.
I can't believe that.
Look at that face.
I genuinely can't believe that 7 years ago you retired.
You still see me, I pop in to do the invigilating and things like that, so all's good on that front. Do you know, I absolutely loved being in St Margaret's. Moved on to a different chapter of my life, but there was so many memories in the theatre tonight, just looking round, listening to the music, you know, when I worked with yourself and things like that for masses and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think you can beat St Margaret's, that's the truth.
Well, I'm going to say you kept me right on more than one occasion, Mr. Quinn. I'll say that much.
No, you thought I was keeping you right. As long as we create that illusion, that's okay with me. So
I'm going to pass on to Amy to ask her a couple of questions.
So is this the first time you've been back in a while? Like, have you noticed any changes?
Right, what happened, Amy, is that once I retired about 7 years ago, my wife and my best friend Colette thought, what could we be doing? And one of the first things was invigilating. And I thought, I want to go back to St Margaret's. So for the last 7 years or so, I've been invigilating in here. And changes that I see, not loads. Staff, I see a big change in staff. But the building remains the same. I remember being at a mass for the school, and Archbishop Cushley was saying that he'd been here as a chaplain, and wonderful school, best pupils in the world, needs a wee bit of a refurb. You know, so that's a wee plug to get the money in for the school. So, if the Archbishop says it.
So can you share some of your favourite memories of working at St Margaret's?
For goodness me.
I'm sure there's plenty, but if you can give it, have you got a couple of funny ones even, Mr. Quinn?
Well, we'll do some of the legal ones. We used to. I was in Costco the other week, and I saw their cakes, and often we would. If it was somebody's birthday, so I was the RE teacher, right? So if it was somebody's birthday, we might get a cake with the class would contribute, we would get money in for charity, and that was all very, very good. But sometimes there might be a wee bit extra cake left, and we would have cake eating contests.
No.
We did, and I think the deal was, don't be telling your parents why you're sick, right? Because they did eat a lot of cake. But there's honestly loads and loads of memories. I saw a board over there for Octorol, and my very good friend Tom Conley, who was deputy in here, he introduced me to Octorol House. You heard of Octorol House, Amy?
No.
Oh, check it out, honestly. It's a house away up in the Highlands that the first head teacher, Derek Fowles, he bought, and the staff redid it, and groups of 30 would go up and stay there for a week. At that time, it cost £25.
Wow.
If folk couldn't afford it, they got up for nothing. And believe me, I would go up there for a week, maybe in June, and I had to book the next June in order to get in, because every week of the year, apart from Christmas, folk were up at Octorow House. And just looking at that board and seeing all that, it's great. Yeah. But the thing is that I work with great people, I work with great head teachers, and because I was in like a dinosaur in there so long, then they were very good at supporting me, whether it be financially or allowing me to do this, to do the charities and things like that. Even though it was cut across class time, folk saw that, like it was said at Mass today about faith and action, they most certainly allowed that. So,
is there any charities you're still involved with now you've retired?
Yes, I started working with Mary's Meals as soon as I retired, and one of the things they did when I was here was the backpack. They did it throughout the schools, so I worked in the warehouse. One of my really important jobs was to sharpen pencils to put into the backpack, which I did. And then they've decided they don't want to do the backpacks anymore, so the warehouse is closed. So I'm working with a tiny soup kitchen called Emmaus, and I go in there on a Wednesday and a Sunday. And there's a group of about 15, 20 homeless people come up, and it is brilliant. It's like a wee family, so I thoroughly enjoy that.
Well, that's fantastic. And I mean, you did some amazing things, and you raised so much money while you were here at St Margaret's.
How can you blush on a microphone? But that's okay without it. Okay, thanks.
There's so many people from the hospice to other charities benefited from your hard work when you were at school. And
thanks.
I know I was only here a few years in the crossover with the two of us, but I know how much you did. And I'm not surprised one bit how you've continued that on after retiring from here and supporting this community.
Right.
You know, it's amazing, and it's really nice to see you tonight and back here in St Margaret's again. So thank you very much for a couple of memories and giving your time up. I know it's busy and it's probably a lot of people wanting to speak to you tonight.
It's an absolute pleasure. And as I say, Amy, I'm just quiet and I struggle for words to say. Aye, right. Okay.
But thanks very much, Tim.
Thank you.
And we've now got our third guest of the night. So could I ask you to introduce yourself and tell us what your connection to St Margaret's High is?
So I'm Chris Costello, I'm a counsellor in Airdrie Central and the convener of Tackling Poverty at North Lanarkshire Council, and I was a pupil at St Margaret's between 2011 and 2017.
Fantastic. So a real success story of St Margaret's High School then?
Well, I like to think so. Gave me a lot to kind of build on and to move on from, so I absolutely love my time here. And it was a real joy to other people here.
What was your favourite subject back when you were at school?
Interesting enough, it was actually Spanish. I did advanced higher Spanish. I loved it. Tried it at uni, wasn't too good, and then kind of fell into politics. So that was my kind of path. But Spanish was my favourite subject.
That's really interesting.
You've kind of walked into this one now because I'm going to have to ask you. Can you give us some Spanish?
Oh, what will we say? Viva Santa Margarita. Is that?
I speak German, not Spanish, so I don't know what that was.
That must be kind of St Margaret lives or something like that. That must be something along those lines.
We'll just say it is. I'm sure.
If it's not, we can cut it out.
We'll get comments on the YouTube channel if it's not. I'm sure.
Is this the first time you've been back to the school in a while? Have you noticed anything different?
It is the first time I've been back for quite a number of years actually. Obviously the faces are different. A lot of new staff, but also a lot of people that I remember as well. So, but in terms of the building itself, it's exactly as I left it really.
Not much changed.
Not much changed. A few extra wee points in here, but other than that, it's pretty similar. I only left it 6 or 7 years ago, so it's not too dissimilar.
Well, since you didn't leave that long ago, I wonder if you've got any memories you'd like to share or you can share on the podcast.
Ones that I can share.
Memorable or some fun memories, things that you got up to when you were here at St Margaret's?
I'll always remember one when I was in 4th year. We still run a competition called Easter Cup through a couple of the teachers in RE and English, and I was part of a team full of, shall we say, less than average footballers, and we were by no means the favourites, and we kind of had a spark, a moment, and we went on and won Easter Cup, and the celebrations were, for a 4th year class, were pretty impressive. So that's a good memory. I'll always remember that one. So
has your football got any better, or was that the last time you played?
No, my football's not getting any better. I actually went to refereeing, which was my alternative route. That's where the bad footballers go. So that's where that went. But I do love football, so that was my way to stay in.
Fantastic. So just to ask you, obviously you're in the council just now. Have you got any aspirations beyond that? Have you got any plans for the future?
Well, listen, I mean, it's a constantly changing situation in politics. I mean, we're very well aware that we're there at the kind of behest of the public, and we have to work for them. Just now I've got the privilege of being the kind of young person and career experience young person champion in the council, so I've got a lot of things to work on just now and I'm only in 2 years, so I've got a lot to go and do in the local area, and a lot to look after and support and help, so I'm thoroughly enjoying that just now. We'll see what happens in the future.
Fantastic. I know, because I remember you from school as well, but I think St Margaret's probably did a lot for you in helping you get to where you are now.
Absolutely. Without it, I mean, I wouldn't be here. Obviously, we come from Airdrie where there's a lot of deprivation and a lot of challenges, a lot of struggles, and to have a school like St Margaret's at the centre of the community which people can rely on, and you can go and get a top class education and come out there with a lot of opportunities. Kind of have enough gratitude to it. It's an excellent place to go to school. Absolutely.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for joining us for a quick chat tonight. I know it's busy, there's lots of people here, but I really appreciate you coming and a wee chat with us, Chris.
Thanks very much, and don't show you my Spanish skills.
No, thank you.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. Can you please tell us your name and your connection to St Margaret's High School?
Yes, so my name is Miss McNulty. I'm currently a modern studies teacher at St Margaret's, but I was also a pupil between the years of 2011 and 2017.
Well, you're obviously a teacher, so you're at the school, but is there any teachers that are still here from when you were at school?
Yeah, there's lots of teachers that are still here, especially the social subjects department. They're quite similar to when I was at school. Yeah, Mr Wardlaw was still here. Well, he is still here. Obviously, when I was at school, he was teaching music as well at the time. Deputies are pretty similar. Obviously, the head teachers changed since I've been here. I went through a couple of head teachers through my school career, and then obviously experiencing Mr O'Connor now.
So is the school similar to when you went here, or has it changed a bit?
So obviously building wise it's very much the same. Everything's really similar. There's not much changed apart from the tweaks here and there, but it's changed in terms of there's an evolution of the staff. Okay, there's people that have been and went away, and then people that are coming back, so it's nice to have a full circle of being at the school, being at experiencing as a pupil, and then coming back and giving a bit back to the kids that are here just now.
Yeah. So what are any of your favourite memories of being at St Margaret's?
As a pupil, yeah.
Yeah.
I think probably going to Malawi. So when I was in 6th year at high school, I went to Malawi with the school. Also in 6th year, I was a senior ambassador at the time, just like yourselves. And it gave you a bit of leadership. It gave you a chance to work with the S1s. And that's when I really, it made it solid that was the decision I was going to make to become a teacher.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
It was nice to join you. This is an
It was nice
exciting
to
time.
have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, so who are we here with today?
I'm Daniel Timoney.
And I'm Adam Costello.
So what's your connection with St Margaret's?
So we are former pupils here, and while we were here we founded a thing called Caritas Cup, and we're still keeping it going.
That's really good. And can you share some of your favourite memories from St Margaret's when you were here?
I would say probably the friends we made, still pals with them all just now. And I think that probably the stuff I've learned from the school, the people we've met and the connections we've met have lasted far longer than the 6 years at school.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Caritas Cup?
Yeah, so the Caritas Cup started as 2 schools in Airdrie and Coatbridge in a game of football, and it's now across most of Scotland, in every senior school in football and netball, and even this year looking to go to other countries in Europe. So yeah, it's been quite exciting, kept us busy on top of uni, so I'm enjoying it.
That's good. Yeah, we saw some of the pupils won it this year as well.
Yeah.
What was your favourite subject back when you were at school?
Mine was either Spanish or woodwork.
I would say the same, Spanish or woodwork. I didn't end up doing anything to do with Spanish or woodwork, but I did enjoy them at the time.
Good. So is this the first time you've been back in a while, and do you notice any changes within the school?
No, so we were back for the Caritas Cup, sort of doing some promotional stuff for it, but it's the first time I've been in some of these areas, and it's a lot of stuff is brand new compared to when we were here, but it's certainly nice to be back.
What have you gone on to do since leaving school?
Well, I'm currently studying Spanish at Heriot Law, and we're still keeping the Caritas Cup going, which I think everybody at the school is kind of appreciating as well.
Yeah, so I'm studying medicine at Glasgow, And just the same as Daniel, just doing the Caritas Cup on top of that.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much.
Thanks
for having us.
Right. Hi, so who are we here with and what's your connection with St Margaret's?
I'm Louise Holmes and I'm a former pupil and a current parent.
So, what was your favourite subject when you were in St Margaret's?
It was English and my favourite teacher was Mrs Miller, who is now an RE teacher.
Do you still talk to Mrs Miller?
I do. I spoke to her earlier tonight.
Good.
And it was lovely seeing lots of former teachers of mine.
Can you share some of your favourite memories from St Margaret's when you were here?
When I was in 5th year, we went on a school trip to Venice and Rome. So we went on the bus and it took us 2 days to get there. And on the way there, a wee boy fell and broke his arm. And Mr Branswich took him to the hospital, got him stookied up, and then just continued on our journey over to Venice. And then we drove down to Rome and we had an audience with the Pope and he gave us a mention as well. And the priest at the time was Father Cushley, who's now Archbishop Leo Cushley.
Wow, that's crazy. So have you been back to Venice recently? Has St Margaret's inspired you to go back?
I've never been back to Venice, I'd love to go back, but I've been back to Rome twice.
Great. And how has St Margaret's helped you get to where you are today?
Did, because I had lots of great teachers who inspired me to become a teacher.
Could you give some examples of some teachers that inspired you to be a teacher?
Yeah, so like I said, Mrs Miller, she was a great teacher. She was really, really hard on us, but only so that she could get the very best out of us. Mrs McLean was also another English teacher that I had. She was fabulous. Miss Allison was my French teacher for 3 years out of the 5 years that I did it. So lots of great teachers that I have very fond memories of.
Has the school changed much since you've been back?
No. The only thing is, this social area used to be little ducats and toilet areas, so that's changed a wee bit, but it's still very much the same.
Great.
I think the same.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
That's all right.
Thank you.